So hello guys, welcome to EduTap. Guys, there is one important question that was coming again and again back to our mind when we have seen this year's examination is was the ESI paper the most toughest examination, the most toughest questions have been asked in the examination, or was the paper not doable, you cannot attempt any question, or was it a paper that was tricky, doable paper, but still it was toughest in nature. So yes, as Anchi sir has discussed with you the analysis of the FM paper, he has shared a very important thing with you that one important thing that you have to work on for the upcoming examination is to analyze this year's examination. Because if you see the previous year pattern, the questions that we have witnessed this year also, if you have analyzed the previous year paper thoroughly, you could do very much better in this year's examination. So guys, in today's lecture, we will be basically discussing about this year's ESI paper. The paper, we know it was a toughest paper, it was tough in nature, but still we can say it is a doable paper. How it is a doable paper and what are the things that you need to analyze for your upcoming examination, this we will discuss in today's lecture. So guys, if you are new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe to the channel, and to get the free material that we are providing, kindly subscribe to our Telegram channel, the link for which is given in the description below. Now let's talk about today's session. So in today's session, we will be discussing both the objective and the subjective paper for your examination. The objective analysis will be taken by me, and for subjective paper, I will be joined by Prakash sir. So he will be discussing with you the subjective paper, how the paper, what are the things that you could imbibe for the future paper. Now guys, when I talk about objective paper, see the ESI, it is basically derived of two words, that is economics and social issues. So when I talk about questions from economics and social issues, there were 11 questions from economics and there were 19 questions from social issues. Economics were carrying 21 marks and ESI social issues were carrying 29 marks, which means there is a proper advantage, proper balance was there in the examination for both the economic and social issues topics. Now when I divide it, we could open it further on. So the important thing is the marks distribution. In economics, there was a single question which was a 1 marker, but the rest 9 questions were from the social issues topic. And from the 2 markers, there were 10 questions in economics and there were 10 questions in social issues, which means proper weightage, equal weightage is given to both the topics here. Now guys, when I talk about this examination, the one of the important thing that needs to be analyzed here is the weightage of static and current in these topics. When I talk about static and current, only one single question of static was asked, that was the 2 marker question. Rest all the questions were current affairs based. Now when I talk about this static question also, this is not a topic which we can say this was a question that was taken directly from static. It was a question that was related to current affairs, but they have asked the static portion of that specific news. Now if I say some questions which were really tough to attempt, that is there was a question on how many free trade agreements were being signed. I think these are kind of questions guys which are being put intentionally in your examination so that you can skip these questions. Now for us, this year's major analysis is this current affairs, how current affairs has been asked. If I tell you, so here this year's paper, the current affairs question, I have analyzed for you each and everything month by month. So see, from the recent 2 months, June and May, only 2 marks of paper was asked. Quite unexpected. Okay, it is a quite unexpected thing. So this year's paper, if we analyze it thoroughly, it is being said, it can be said that the paper might have been fixed or might have been set in the month of April, because majority of questions in your examination was from the month of April. And if I say there were questions on schemes and reports which were there, which you can see in the PIB that were there in news in the past 6 months and before Jan. So see, if this I can say Jan to June, last 6 months, if I say these last 6 months guys are still the most important, because still from the 37 marks, which I can say around 74% of your paper has the questions has come directly from the past 6 months current affairs, which means as we say the current affairs of last 6 months are really important for our examination. Now when I further divide the current affairs, let's look at the pillars from which the questions have been asked. So from current affairs guys, 30 marks of paper has been asked from the government schemes. 14 marks of questions were asked from the general ESI current affairs, and 6 mark of question, that is a one paragraph based question or report, has been asked in our examination. Now see here one thing important. Government schemes, we always say they are the most important pillars of ESI current affairs, and this has been proved this year. 60% of your paper is coming from government schemes. So if you have thoroughly covered only one section, that is government schemes, from the past 6 months, you can still score 30 marks in this year's examination. Okay. Now here one thing more, if I say to it, see all the 1 marker questions were related to schemes. No single question, no 1 mark question has been asked from ESI current affairs, which was quite unexpected. We were expecting that in 1 marker the questions from ESI static, ESI current affairs will be asked, and schemes question will be basically from the paragraph based questions. But in the 1 mark questions also, the schemes were directly asked. Now let us further elaborate this government scheme section, but how the questions are basically being asked here. Now if I say here guys, there are 2 type of things how you have to cover the schemes. One are those schemes which are there in use, which have been recently launched in the past 1 year. Then there are other schemes which have been launched prior to 1 year, but still they are seen in use. So here, if you look at this year's examination, there were 16 questions that were asked from those schemes that have been launched 1 year prior to the examination, and there were 4 questions that have been asked from the schemes that has been launched this year, that is within 1 year before your examination. If I give you an example, the question on SMILE scheme was asked. It was launched in Feb 2022, and a full paragraph based question has been asked on this specific scheme of SMILE scheme. PM Cares for Children scheme, the question has been asked, still it was seen in news. And if I tell you one thing, these schemes that we are seeing here, those schemes that are released 1 year before the examination, these are also those schemes that are being seen in your PIB from the past 6 months. Yes guys, this is one thing very much important. The schemes might be older, but they were seen in use. So this is the one important thing that needs to be analyzed, that you all should work on, that those schemes, whether it is 1 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old or 5 year old, if it is seen in use, you have to cover them thoroughly. This is one thing. If I further elaborate this scheme, the question that is ministry wise. So here is one thing that we have analyzed, that this year the questions have been basically asked from these specific ministries, that is these ministries are basically the questions that have been asked. Here guys, only one ministry that needs to be analyzed is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Yes, this year majority of questions have been asked from this ministry. If you see the previous year paper of 2021, then also the questions, the paragraph based question still from this ministry was asked, that is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. If I give you an example, Abru scheme, question was asked previous year. That was directly from this ministry. So this tells us now whenever you are preparing for your examination, the social issues, this ministry, the schemes of this ministries are now very, very important for our examination. Then these are some ministries, but this does not define that only these ministries needs to be covered. You have to cover each and every ministry for which the schemes are there in use. That needs to be analyzed properly. One important thing that was seen in the schemes are the 1 mark questions that were being asked in your examination were basically the case studies based question. So they have not directly asked you a question on the statement or a feature of the scheme. What they have done is they have made a case study on that. For sovereign gold bond scheme, they have said a lady is there, what she wants to do in sovereign gold bond scheme. Basically the key features of the scheme were being asked in a statement based thing, in an analytical way, in a case study way. Then for the match the following question that has been asked, still there were 3 statements that were case study based question. So which tells us now you have to cover the schemes properly, but mention one thing guys, it will not be a direct question. You should be ready for the indirectness, that is question might not be asked you directly, but indirectly they are covering the basic dimensions of the schemes, aims, objectives, key themes, key features, key data. These are the only things which are being focused on this year's examination, but the questions were not direct, they were asked in the form of case study. So now we have analyzed the first topic, that is the government schemes. Now let's come to the second important dimension, that is the report section. So guys, this year only a single paragraph based question on report was asked, which was the most toughest question of this year's examination, because they have asked a question from the report of World Bank, that is Human Capital Index report, which is a biennial report, and that was released way back in 2020. So I know at this point of time no one will be able to remember that specific report. We were expecting questions on National Family Health Survey, Periodic Labour Force Survey, but what they have done is they have asked a question on an international report, which is quite a vague back. So this tells us now, this analyzes us to now, okay, now guys, if any reports of international level is also biennial or quinennial, these needs to be covered till that point when the latest data is not being updated. So this was important about the report section. Now coming to the general ESI current affairs, this year the questions that have been asked in the general ESI current affairs are quite unexpected. We were expecting questions on government initiatives will be asked, or might be questions on some other important programs that have been launched by the government might be asked. But what they have done is they have asked two questions. One question you can say still it was expected, because India-Australia Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement has taken place. It is the first agreement in a decade that has been signed, so it is important. But the question on rice and dialogue, it is a simple general awareness news which generally students used to cover. But they have asked a full paragraph based question on that specific thing, which was quite unexpected. This now helps us in analyzing that each and every topic of ESI syllabus, the current affairs related to ESI topics are very, very important. You have to cover each and every current affair that is related to your ESI current affair topic thoroughly. Because generally what students used to do is they used to cover the important sectors like social sectors, health, education, employment generation in India, sustainable development and environmental issues. So these topics like globalization, international economic institutions, these are the important topics that needs to be covered thoroughly in this year's examination. So which means that I have discussed due importance has to be given to each and every current affair. So guys, if I talk about the key takeaways from the objective paper, one thing that I have discussed with you, government schemes play a very, very important role for your examination. But one thing needs to be analyzed is a case study based question has been asked, and we can expect the same in the upcoming examination also. Then the biennial reports that is biennial, quinennial, or any report that has been released till the latest edition of the report is not being released, that report is very much relevant for your examination. Then, as I have discussed just a few seconds earlier, due importance should be given to each and every topic of your ESI current affairs syllabus. Now when I talk about the other things that you can do for your upcoming examination, practice the paragraph based questions. More number of paragraph based questions needs to be practiced, and along with that, practice paragraph based should be there, but it should also be statement based questions. What they are asking, correct statement, incorrect statement, case study based questions. These are the important things that needs to be analyzed for your examination, especially for the ESI objective paper. Okay guys, so this was all about your ESI objective paper. Now I will like to call Prakash sir here, who will be basically guiding you for the subjective paper for this year's ESI examination. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So guys, welcome again. So I'll start that initially Gurkira sir has said that yes, analysis is the key, guys, right? So analysis is the key to ensure to cover the path of your next year's preparation, right guys? So you have to analyze the previous year papers, and after that you have to ensure you have to make a strategy for the next year's preparation. So guys, I'm going to discuss with you the descriptive analysis of phase 2 of RBI Grade B 2022 examination. So guys, first of all, we will be analyzing 10 marker question. Then after that, we will be analyzing 15 marks question, right friends? So if we talk about 10 marks question, so 10 marks question was quite direct and straightforward questions. So if you can see here, that question number first is about rural entrepreneurship, how the hinterlands young enterprise can solve India's social challenges. So this is quite a direct question, right? We do not need to apply any logic. This is not an application based question, rather directly, simply question has been asked and you have to answer, right? So this is a direct and straightforward question. So this question has been asked from the topic social sectors in India. Though friends, this rural entrepreneurship is not specifically mentioned in the syllabus, but yes, it is a part of your social sectors, right? So this you have to analyze, that you have to go into the topic, whatever topics are mentioned in the syllabus, you have to go inside that particular topic and cover in such a way so that you can cover the topic in its entirety, right? If we talk about second question, that is write a short note on the current monetary policy framework in India. So again, this is a direct question and straightforward questions, right? Question. So here you can see that this question is asked from your Indian economy syllabus. The topic is monetary and fiscal policy since reforms of 1991, right, friends? So this question is asked from this particular topic. Again, this we have covered thoroughly in our notes. Here you can see that inflation targeting framework in India. So basically this question is about the inflation targeting framework, that is current monetary policy framework, right? So this we have thoroughly covered in our notes also. If we talk about question number third, so question number third is, friends, what is NBFC? How is it different from a bank? Mention 5 types of NBFCs registered with RBI, right? So again, a direct question. So that I have said initially that 10 marker questions were quite straightforward and direct questions, right? So again, this is a straightforward question. So this topic is asked from the syllabus, from the tag Indian money and financial market, right? So this basically question belongs to this particular topic in the syllabus of your Indian economy. Right, friends? Again, this we have covered thoroughly in our notes. So if you have gone through our notes, you can easily answer this particular question. Right, friends? Now, let's move to the 15 marker question. So guys, if we talk about 15 mark question, so this is quite difficult, I can say. Difficult and plus application based, right? We have discussed about 10 marks question that they were direct and quite moderate and easy to moderate, right, friends? But if we talk about subjective question, 15 marker question, then it is difficult plus application based. So if you can analyze this thing by going through the question. So question number first is, although urbanization has been spreading to the hinterlands, caste and gender discrimination is rampant. In this opinion, how will you justify the protective discriminatory policies? So guys, here question was framed by clubbing 2 topics of the social issues. What are those topics? Those topics are urbanization and migration, and second topic is social justice, positive discrimination in favor of the underprivileged. So this is a key learning, this is a key analysis here, that you cannot confine your preparation towards a particular topic. You have to read, you have to cover the topics in its entirety, as well as you have to have integrated approach to cover the topic so that you can solve these kind of questions, right? Let's move to the question number second. So question number second is, what is meant by economic reforms? Explain all the types of reform in economic policies in India from the 1990s till now. So guys, again, this is a straightforward and direct question. For that, you do not need to have any special knowledge. If you have read about the economic reforms, you can easily answer this particular question. So if we see the syllabus of this question number second, it is asked from the economic history of India. The topic is specifically mentioned under Indian economy, right? So this is basically question asked from this particular topic. Now, this also we have covered in detail in our notes. So those who have gone through our notes, they can easily answer this question. So here you can see that we have discussed about economic reforms in India. We have given the background. We have also discussed about the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, right? So we have covered this question in detail in our notes. Now again, question number third is difficult and application based, right? So if you read the question, so question is, financial resilience is essential to any financial institution, business, discussed in the light of a financial stability report by RBI in December 2021. Second, B is challenges faced by the Indian economy and economic reforms taken in view of the outbreak of COVID-19 in India. So the question is quite difficult. You have to break this question into multiple micro questions, right guys? So this is, I'm saying that it seems that they are gradually moving from conventional method of asking question from one particular topic to asking question by integrating different topics. So here you can see that they have covered, they have combined economics plus finance, and they have framed a beautiful question here, right? So here in the first part you can say they have covered the topics from finance, and part question number B is from the economics itself. So the question is beautifully designed, and they have combined, they have integrated the finance and economics, right friends? So basically if devote this question. So this question is mostly devoted, mostly dedicated to this particular topic of your finance, that is financial system. So they have used these subtopics and frame a beautiful question. And second is economic reforms. The second part is about economic reforms, which is from the economics component. So question is very beautifully designed, guys. So this is what I am saying, that initially what used to happen, that in earlier they asked question based on any particular topic, right? But now it seems that they are gradually moving towards asking question from combining different topics, by combining multiple topics. So this you can see from question number first also, this you can see from question number third also, right? So again, guys, this is, though directly we did not cover this question, but if you go through our notes, you can easily answer, you can get some points to which can help you in answering question number third, right? Now if we talk about the breakup of questions, so here you can see that from economics 4 questions were asked. So if we talk about 15 marks question, so 2 questions were asked from 15 marks, and if we talk about 10 marks question, so 2 questions were asked in 10 marks. So totally 4 marks were asked from economics. And if we talk about social issues, then 2 questions were asked, one in 15 marks and one in 10 marks. So totally 2 questions were asked in social issues component. So guys, if we talk about syllabus wise distribution of marks, so here you can see that urbanization and migration one question of 15 marks have been asked, right? If we talk about financial system, which is a part of your finance, so 15 mark question has been asked from this topic. And if we talk about economic history of India, economic reforms wala question, so this is asked in 15 marks. And if we talk about Indian money and financial markets, which is a part of your ESI syllabus, economics basically, so here one question of 10 marks was asked. And if we talk about monetary policy since reforms of 1991, so one question of 10 marks asked from this particular topic. And social sectors in India, one question from this particular topic. So guys, we often tell in our sessions that few topics are very important. So here you can see we often tell that you have to cover economic history of India, you have to cover monetary policy, you have to cover urbanization, social sector. So these all topics we have already listed, we have already given to the viewers, to the aspirants, right? So those who have followed that strategy, they would have done definitely good in the examination, right? Now, if we talk about marks distribution, so total 75 marks or descriptive paper was there, out of which you had to attempt 50 marks only, right? So if we talk about current, so basically 40 marks were devoted to the current, which is around 53%. And if we talk about static component, then it is of 35 marks, which is basically 47%. But here is no clear bifurcation of between current and static, because you can use current affairs in your static question also, and you can use static component in your current affairs also, right? So basically this is not a clear-cut bifurcation. Rather, this is just to give you an idea how you can approach and what kind of paper have been asked. Now, what are the few key takeaways which you can take from this overall analysis of descriptive questions? So guys, question were mix of a direct and application based, right? So if I talk about 10 marks questions, so they were direct, and if I talk about 15 marks question, so they were quite application based. Second is more weightage was given to economics, as 50% out of 75 marks were from the economics only. But you do not need to think like that this method and this trend will continue in the upcoming examination also, right? Because social issues is also very important for your descriptive component. So guys, you do not need to make it a thumb rule. Rather, they can ask more questions next year from social component also, right? So this is this year's trend. Third point is follow the syllabus tags for expected descriptive questions. Here you can see that questions were indirect in nature, but they have been asked from the syllabus tags itself, right? So you have to analyze the syllabus, you have to go deep into any particular topic and cover in its entirety, right? Then question number 4, the most important is that questions were framed by integrating different topics under the same component, like migration and social justice, urbanization and social justice wala question, right? And as well as by integrating finance and economics component, the question of financial stability and economic reforms taken during the COVID, right? So you have to read. This is the key takeaway which you can analyze in this year's paper, that you have to, now for next year preparation, you have to cover the things in such a way so that you can integrate multiple topics from economics, from finance, as well as you have to integrate finance as well as economics both, right? And you have to read in such a way so that if question is asked from in the mix, if the question is asked from by mixing the economics and finance concepts, then you can easily answer, right guys? So this is all for the analysis of ESI paper of RBI Grade B Phase 2, but there is a homework for you. So you have to tell in the comment box that importance of government schemes. What is the importance of government schemes? And second is whether integrated approach of studying finance and economics is relevant or not. So this is a homework for you which you need to tell. So guys, this is all for this session. I hope you have learned some key points of this year's paper, and you will apply this the analysis which we have done for the preparation of the next year examination. So we'll meet in another session. Till then, goodbye and happy learning, friends.